Were you told you were shy? Do you identify as shy? Do you hate that word now? Do you just wish you could get over it and get on with your life? Welcome to Shining Beyond Shy, empowering you to create a greater life than you ever thought was possible. With your Shining Beyond Shy host, Fiona Cups. Hi, everybody. Your host, Fiona Cuts here. Welcome to Shining Beyond Shy. And I'm calling this episode, Can Shy People Really Love Their Bodies? It's so funny when I announce the episode and start to laugh. I don't know why it makes me laugh. And as I've said before, that kind of title wouldn't have made me laugh in the past. And why am I laughing? So if any of you are in that space of I'm shy, I hate my body, I don't know how it can change, please know I'm not laughing at you, not at all, not at all. And this was my reality for a lot of my life. I never knew I could change it, never dreamt that I could change it, to be honest. And so I get it. And yet somehow, when I say the title, there's like a freedom somehow in knowing that all of this stuff is changeable. And what I used to think it was about, in as far as I thought about it before I had the tools of energy healing, Buddhism, access consciousness, I think I just felt trapped. You know, if I thought about it, it wasn't in any constructive terms, in terms of changing it. It was more how to cope with being in this shy situation in a body that I really didn't like. And it wasn't as if I even knew that I didn't like my body. I was pretty unaware. And how does it get better than that? So yeah, I didn't even know that I didn't like my body. But so let me tell you the story of me and my body. Are you sitting comfortably? So, well, I really was blessed and still am blessed with my body. And I had really a body that's considered beautiful in this reality. It matched the criteria of this reality. I was slim, I was shapely, had curves in all the right places, and long legs, and laughing, long legs, short body. Anyway, and I hated my body. I absolutely hated my body. And it's so funny. I was talking to somebody about this. I was talking on a Facebook Live about this, actually. And at the same time as hating my body, I required reassurance, particularly from men, that my body was attractive, that I was attractive, that I was okay. So it's almost like not almost, it's like this was a situation I was in. I was craving that approval, craving that validation, whilst at the same time not able to hear it and not being for myself what would be required to actually receive when you receive something, it's not really a validation, it's an acknowledgement. To not receive the acknowledgement. And here's the thing that I see now, that actually my body is moving, it's true. What I was really craving wasn't for people to say, or for me to say, oh, aren't you lucky? You've got a body that's beautiful in this reality. It was more what I was really looking for was a communion with my body. Not that I would have used those terms, but in access consciousness, we talk about, so Fiona the being and the body I have in this lifetime. And I was really looking for an ability for me, the being, to be in connection with my body. And when the being, so you, the being, is in connection with your body, everything feels yummy and delicious and fun. And that was what I guess I was looking for, and a lot of us are looking for, without even knowing that that's what we're looking for. We get so obsessed with this reality and what this reality tells us is beautiful in a body, tells us is yummy in a body, tells us that we should strive for, that we think that that is what we're looking for and striving for. And a lot of us have that. You know, I'm not the only person who had a young, beautiful body who isn't able to enjoy it, who thinks, well, it's like, I don't even have the words, but there's an energy there. So truth, all that energy that comes up as I talk about this, will you destroy and uncreate it? And I'm going to use the Access Consciousness clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So the clearing statement allows us to let go of whatever is stuck in the area that we're asking the question about. It's absolutely brilliant. For now, I'll continue using it, and I know a lot of you are familiar with it. If you don't know it, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and read more about it. So, yeah, I wasn't able to enjoy the beautiful body that I had. And when I say beautiful body, it's actually not about how I look. It's like nowadays that I have the communion with the body, and in this reality, I'm not the quote unquote right age to have a beautiful body anymore. And yet it's like that enjoyment, that communion, that yum that I have with my body is so much more enjoyable, so much more fun than what I used to have. And it's like that can shine out of me, but it will be in a very, very different way from what is considered appropriate and acceptable by people who are doing the norms of this reality. Makes me laugh. So again, there's a lot of energy on that. So all the energy on that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And another way of saying this is, I guess, that we have to come to love, and I mean, I'll use the word accept, but I'll say something more about it in a second. We have to come to learn to love and accept ourselves as we are, and then we can start to have that communion, that yum, that deliciousness with our body. And that's also the space that we can start to change things from. So we can't change anything that we're judging. And I use the word accept, and really the word I would like to use and introduce you to, if you don't know already, is be an allowance of. So the word acceptance has this kind of thing, oh, okay, so for me, here I am, I'm the age that I am, and my body looks the way that it does, and I just have to accept it. Okay, I'll accept it. And there's kind of a resignation in that. I'll accept the where I am with my body. It's okay, I'll resign myself to it. Whereas allowance is a totally different thing. Allowance is that space of, okay, here I am, here's my body, here's how I am, whatever point in my life I'm in, wherever I am, this is me. And that's okay. It's okay that my body is as it is at the moment. And when we can really get to that space, that's where, well, first of all, that's where we actually enjoy our body. That's where we can have the communion with the body. So the body, we can't be in communion with our body when we're judging. But that's also where things can start to change. Paradoxically, we can't change things when we so desire them to change because we're so fed up and judging what we actually have. So that's one aspect of it. And I also want to, I mean, this is a podcast about shyness, so I also want to talk about how that works with shyness. So for me, I've said this before on these podcasts, it's like shyness isn't just about the voice. So we can be shy in terms of expressing ourselves with our voice, of course, and that's what most people think of as shyness. But we can also be shy around our bodies. I used to hate people seeing my body, actually. When I was in a room full of people, one of the reasons, even before I had to say anything, one of the reasons it was excruciating for me was because I didn't want people looking at me. I didn't want people looking at my body. And I was in so much judgment of my body that I didn't want other people seeing it. And to be honest, I found it uncomfortable if people were seeing the physical beauty, if you like, of my body. I couldn't allow that into my world. That was part of the shyness. And actually, another way of looking at the shyness is it's a separation from who we be. So me choosing to be shy around my body was a way of separating from my body. And there's a lot of energy on that. And don't worry if you don't even understand what I mean by that. We'll clear the energy and that will create something different. So all the energy that comes up for you when I talk about shyness being a separation from the body, truth, will you destroy and uncreate that? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. What if we didn't have to separate from our bodies? What if, as shy people, and I mean, you know that this podcast actually is about overcoming shyness, but let's just use those words. What if, as shy people, we could use the tools that we have to be in communion with our body? What's possible for us being in communion with our body? What if we could be in allowance of our bodies? Just notice the space that that brings in. Beautiful. What if we could actually enjoy our bodies, no matter what anybody else thinks? And here's the thing, I love to tell this story. I was at some kind of self-development workshop around body and communion with the body. It wasn't an access consciousness workshop. I think actually it was a tantra workshop. And there was a lady there, a young lady who was big, really big. She was what I would actually call Rubenesque. And she had these folds of very white flesh. And she was sitting, reclining on this chaise longue, and she looked absolutely beautiful, really, really beautiful, but big. I mean, really big. And she had a lover, partner, husband, not sure what he was, but this gorgeous guy, again, young guy, who was, I mean, tiny compared with her, and according to this reality, a very handsome man. And he absolutely adored her body. And I was just fascinated by her on that day, because at different times in history, it could be that she is the one that has the body that's acceptable to this reality, and I would be the scrawny bitch who didn't have enough money and couldn't eat enough, couldn't buy enough food to eat. But we're living in this time where being slim is prized, and she totally loved her body. It's like that's because she had no judgment of her body, because she was just like, here I am. It's like I could tell other people in the room were intrigued by her, and I could also tell that, yeah, that it was because it came from her that she was willing to be in allowance of her body and to love her body. So everything that story brings up in your world, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And one more story, actually. I'm just learning salsa dance, and it's so interesting. I mean, the way that you learn these dances, and a lot of you will know this, is that you change partners like every 3 or 4 minutes. And so you get to know men in the room because you're always dancing with different men. But it's like I haven't got to know the women there as much. But there's one woman who has caught my eye, and it's like a lot of the people there are kind of slim and can move their bodies with ease. And this lady is, again, she's bigger. And I was looking at her, and she has such an ease and a beauty and a grace as she moves. It's really yummy watching her move. And again, I don't get, she has points of view about her body and her size. And what if we could all have that? And from this perspective, everybody is beautiful. So everybody is beautiful, and every body is beautiful. And yes, shy people can learn to get over that separation between themselves and their body. We can learn to be okay with people looking at us, with people enjoying us. That brought up some energy. So everything that word brings up in relation to you and your body, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And if this subject kind of piques your interest, if you would like more with it, I actually have a class coming up this Saturday. So if you happen to be in Kuwait, you can come live. It's going to be Saturday, March the 12th in Kuwait. And I'll give you the timing in Central European time. I mean, if you're in Kuwait, okay, I'll give it you in Kuwaiti time. If you happen to be in Kuwait, it's at 5 o'clock in the evening until 9 o'clock in the evening. You're also welcome to join online, and it will be 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock Central European time, this Saturday, March the 12th. And if you're watching the replay, then just check my calendar, because I love this class. And I mean, I think it's amazing for shy people. And it's funny because I'm facilitating it a little bit in Kuwait and in Dubai and in that part of the world. And I think it's brilliant for that part of the world. But to be honest, I think it's brilliant for wherever we are in the world. It's like, why do we have to live with this separation from our body? What if we can actually choose and have the enjoyment that should be our birthright? So basically, if you're listening to this later and March the 12th has long gone or short gone, then I will be facilitating more of this class, and we'll include in the show notes a link so you can see when more of this class is coming. So I would love to see you there this Saturday, and I enjoy being on this podcast and seeing you on this podcast too. So I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful for you. It would be great if you could subscribe. Great if you could leave a review wherever you're listening. And if you'd like some quick, simple tips to overcome shyness wherever you are, please go to my website, fionacuts.com, where you can download my free product, 5 Steps to Overcoming Shyness Wherever You Are. Thank you again, and see you next time.